Ipswich Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich Buses today. A single from only £1.20, a return from only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town. Welcome back, gang. Hello, friends. You are my friends. It is half time. It is 0-0. Not a single shot on target. This is your half-time 10 minutes. Steve, not a shot on target in what I've billed as a must-win game. How have you viewed, before we get into the individuals, how have you viewed the overall first half?
I spent about 15-20 minutes trying to get iFollow to work on different devices. When I did,
iFollow?
It was no, it was my devices more than anything. I'm trying to get my thing to screen mirror to my TV, and I couldn't do it, so I'm ended up watching it on my little iPad screen instead. Apart from that, yeah, well, when I finally got on, disappointing. It seemed a bit of a slog, really. You know, we got used to some great football in the past couple of games, and that was a bit,
yeah,
a downgrade, really.
Not a great game, Neil.
We look a little bit laboured in certain areas, but other than that, we're keeping possession. We're spreading the ball. When you do 1-2s and making a run, a few players have stopped their run, or we've been a bit lacklustre there.
Do you think that's a result of a new midfield too?
Cutting back rather than taking on his man.
Do you think that Mark, who's Caden Jackson's biggest fan, says no goals, no surprise. Jackson playing offers nothing this half, waste of space. So how you feel?
I wouldn't say he's offered nothing. He's been in that channel, but that's where KVY should be, and Jackson, as the commentators have said, needs to come more inside to help out Norwood.
Yeah, absolutely. On the 1-2s and the lack of synergy, I suppose, Neil, is that a result, do you feel, of a new midfield too, and the lack of understanding, or is it something?
No, it's where the sort of more failed to do it. The trio that have been doing it quite a lot of late with Burns, Danassian, and Aluko. So they know what each other are doing, and sort of stopped a little bit of it.
Okay, so it's not quite clicked for yourself now. Steve, one player's played well for you for that first half. Who stood out for you?
No one's really stood out as such, but I'll probably lean a bit towards KVY. There's been some good balls there. We can see, some of his pace. It's good to see him on the left.
Okay, yeah, KVY.
He's got no penny, so
second start at left wing back has probably looked at a more brighter spark. Delivery of the final ball, is it good enough yet for you? Do you think is that something he has to add to his?
Yeah, he needs to get back into that. Yeah, if he can get that, then fair enough. It'd be nice. And it's been nice to see him push forward sort of every now and then. But yeah, he needs that final ball.
Because I add that, Steve, because I feel with McKenna's tactics, you've got Jackson, whoever seems to be playing on that left wing. It's not left wing; it's more inside left. So there's lots of space around the outside of the player. So the way McKenna sets his team up, he wants the space to be exploited. So KVY is doing the job and exploiting the space. It's just the final ball is not quite there.
Yeah.
Neil, who stood out for you in that first half? I'm getting lots of love for Backinson. JT Backinson, very decent. Daniel Bradish, Backinson's been decent. Looks to play forward. Who stood out for you, Neil?
Yeah, Backinson has been a good player.
What particularly has impressed you about him? Obviously, wearing gloves again tonight. We'll probably see those in the club shop very soon. Get those with your team card points. But before the 29th of January, what's impressed you about him? What stood out? What have you looked and what's caught your eye?
He's just tidy, and the fact that he has played some good passes. There's been some interesting things where, the ball came over to him and he chest controlled it and then played the pass, where another player could have been caught with the ball and given it away.
Athletic. doesn't he? Looks an athletic player. The type we've not had in the midfield for a number of years. It could be argued.
Yeah. He's just been good, and he can play a ball as well, which is good to see.
Paul Mays, Backinson unlucky. Blatant penalty. Why can't the last one see that? Do you feel he should have had a penalty? I watched the incident in real time.
I think it's soft. I saw a tug on the shirt, or on the arm. He was handled, but I think it's one of them soft ones which you just, unless you're Man City, you don't get given them.
Yeah. Roy Clark likes Backinson's work rate and vision. Duncan says, shout Backinson and Luco. Burns needs to be more in that number 10 position. Solid gets forward from YouTube member Stephen Parry. Steve 154. We look decent in the final third. Backinson looks at present. Anderson's calm on the ball. My player that's played well so far first half is Wes Burns. I think he's been a real outlet, a real threat. Really good for us on that right wing. Get into the byline. Again, showing why he is a League One player still, because his final ball at times is a real letdown when he gets to that byline. But I've really been impressed with Wes Burns. It's Burns night. We need a goal from you, Wesy. We need a goal to cap off Burns night. Mike D says, you're forgetting how athletic Douglas was, Gov. To Mike, you know what? Yes, I am. Douglas and Skuse, the two athletic midfield players of the last 10.
Dream team. The dream
Absolutely. Team. Neil, who's not stood out for you?
KVY has. I know Steve thought he'd done well, so he obviously saw something in his play. He's been involved, but it's been a bit lackluster. I expect more from him. The cover might be more down that side, but he's just not doing what I require of him.
What do you require of him then? What do you want from him in the second half? What do you require from him?
Well, I would say he's sitting quite deep, but there again, yeah, he's sitting deep. He's almost where you find him is where we've found Danassian out the other side, but he's not playing the same role as Danassian, so he needs to be like Burns and further up the pitch.
Okay, so you want him further up the pitch so he can influence the attacking.
Yeah, because at this minute you've then got Jackson ahead of him, almost doing what KVY should be doing.
Okay, so I'm laughing because Graham says we need drilling up front. They know my trigger words. Hearing in the chat that potentially Selena on for Jackson, Steve. No surprise to some. Jackson was your player who didn't play well. So if that is true, what did you make of Jackson's game? First half.
It's largely awful. You know, the pace is there, but he's not utilising it. He keeps turning away.
He's not a winger, though, is he? He's playing inside left, and he's not a winger.
I wouldn't say it's awful, but
he's
as
not a winger, but he's terrible.
Steve mentioned, he keeps turning back. Not once did he try and take it on the run to byline, or try and cut in and go to goal. He just cut back the whole time, in which to the point that the defence got used to it. And they just mopped up. He cut back, and the defender went, "Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. Thanks for the ball."
But with Jackson, it's great points, Neil. But with Jackson, it feels like it's not just McKenna, but managers look at him and say, "Oh, you're fast. You'll play on the wing." That's not. You need more than just a bit of pace to play on the wing. He's not a winger.
No. I don't think he is supposed to be playing wing.
That's where we're finding him on that inside left channel.
It looked like he was going to be on a front two with Norwood, but he's finding himself out on the left wing. That's
where I'm seeing him a lot of the time. In that inside left, tucked in a little bit, not hogging the touchline, but playing there. And it's not his game is the focal point, the channel runner, in behind the two. Because is it Haggerty? No, who's the Wimbledon defender? Starts with a H. Can't think of his name right off my head, but he looks, no disrespect to the fella, bit of a donkey to be fair. You know, you want Jackson in, but he looks like the way I used to play. You want him in behind in the channel. Yeah, you know what I mean by that, Neil. You've seen me play many times, or attempt to anyway. I'm going to go with Edmondson, having not played well in that first half, purely because the guy next to him, Luke Wolfenden, is having a storming game. So it's not necessarily anything that Edmondson's done wrong, although it's not his normal high standard. It's more because Wolfenden is making him look inferior par, 6 out of 10 if you like, because Wolfenden really has had a tremendous first half. Led the line, played the ball, dropped shoulders, Hollywood passes. But But the teams are out. So score predictions. And don't forget, we are back on the full-time fans react show. The moment the full-time whistle goes, what's our score going to be then, boys? Are we going to win the game, Neil?
I think it's still a 2-1.
Okay. Steve?
I'm going to go for 1-0 Town now.
1-0.
I've come down from a 3-0.
All right. Full time is the time we hand over to you. So live link, live chat, get involved, have your say. But until then, hopefully Town will go on to actually win a must-win game. Who knows?
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that